Today on Near Mint Condition, I'm going to fulfill a request and show you some behind-the-scenes footage and how we put together one of our more recent panel intros. Which means I'm going to be on camera some. Which means it's going to be awkward. Stay tuned!
Omar, why are we in this building with all these books?
Rob, you ignorant slut! We're here to get some free comics!
What? Free comics?
That's what I heard, that's what I heard!
Hey, let me do the talking, okay? Miss?
Well, obviously that didn't work, Maddie!
Yeah, we're gonna have to try something else.
Dude, she's holding comics!
Oh, let's get her!
Meow!
Ah!
The first stage of video making is pre-production. This is where brilliant ideas are molded into one solid bundt cake recipe. I have always loved the original Ghostbusters movie. The comedy, the adventure, the mystical sci-fi elements, the music. I mean, this movie completely captured my imagination when I was a kid. I used to daydream about making my own sequel to the franchise. So when we decided to do a panel video about your local library, I knew right away what intro parody I wanted to make. This scene.
Hello, I'm Peter. Where are you from, originally?
I've done some basic storyboards before to sketch out how filming should go, but in this case it really wasn't necessary. My goal was simply to recreate this scene, but shorten it and give it our own punchline. Fortunately for me, the gang was all for it. The second stage of making a video is production. This is where we get all the cooks in the kitchen to deliver their finest performances, or just whatever comes out of their wacky face holes. We recorded this intro in front of a green screen, which required proper lighting. The basic idea is to evenly light your backdrop and then separately light your subject. Throw in a good quality microphone close to the talent but still off camera and you're ready to go. For this intro, I kind of rushed the setup a little. Ideally, I would have moved our main lights around to match the shots we were trying to recreate, but we had a lot to film that day and I just didn't want to take the time to get too picky. Once setup was done, it was time to bring in the talent and record the scene. Tina, who is an amazing cosplayer, put together a fantastic costume for a killer ghost librarian. The rest of the gang got to be their usual dorky selves.
Yeah, I got this. We're here for some free comics. Get her! I can't believe I said get her, dude. What does that mean? That doesn't play right.
Something like, and when you say get her, make it more of like a get her!
Ah!
As opposed to like, get her.
Because one's better than the other.
The final stage of making a video is post-production. This is where you realized you used salt instead of sugar, and you burned the cake. So you try to salvage it through clever editing and ooey-gooey special effects icing. The first thing I did was to put together a timeline of the scene. I went through all the footage, picked out the best takes, and assembled a rough sketch. I didn't want to worry about corrections or effects, I just wanted to get an idea for how this thing was going to look. I also kept the original scene from Ghostbusters on hand, which I used as a reference throughout the entire process.
I like that you slapped him real hard and he almost fell over.
Sorry, I guess I don't know my own strength.
Yeah.
You know, that's great.
He
You
does.
really
He does
would.
know his own strength. Weak ass bitch.
The next thing I did was to correct the colors and the contrast in my footage, making sure that, nothing was too bright or too dark, that skin tones looked accurate, and that the saturation levels were reasonable. We used a color reference chart to help a lot with this process. After that, I isolated the subject in the footage by removing the green screen and any other incidental objects that got in the way. If the green screen is properly lit, this process is usually very quick and easy.
Alright, we're gonna have to.
Well, obviously that didn't work.
Wait.
Rob?
Oh, okay, we started? Alright, let's do it.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have to try.
Obviously that didn't work.
What happened to the part where I'm supposed to say, why are we in this place with this lot?
That was in the beginning.
Okay,
so we cut. We're
this
back
is
here.
part two.
Yeah. We don't need to do that.
Okay, I'm so sorry.
No,
I'm
it's
so
okay, it's
sorry.
okay, it's all right.
Okay, I'm sorry.
You
I got it.
ignorant
I'm ready.
All right.
Now that I had my subjects isolated, it was time to create my background shots. I really wanted to use the original scene as much as possible, but that meant I had to paint out the actors. It's a tricky process and can take a really long time, but it's kind of fun. With my subjects and backgrounds ready, I started to throw in little details to make everything just kind of gel together. Here, I needed to convey some distance between Tina and the rest of the gang, so I moved her out of focus just a little bit. For this shot, I didn't really like how Tina was alone in the frame. Yes, it was true to the original scene, but in the movie, the other actors were much farther away from the librarian. We couldn't pull that off because of the small space that we recorded in, so our actors appeared a lot closer. I felt like I really should be seeing Tina from over their shoulders, but we didn't record any over-the-shoulder shots. So I had to create one. We're gonna do one that's slower. No, I mean like a slower head turn.
Okay. Yeah, not sensual.
No, yes, sensual.
People do have a lot of librarian fetishes.
Right.
I think I'm one of them now.
Next, it was time to turn Tina into a ghost. I made her a little translucent, kind of boosted the pinkish hues, and gave her this subtle glow. I really wanted her to float, so I masked her legs out and added some up and down movement, kind of like a hover effect. By far, the biggest task was Tina's animation at the end. The original plan was to turn her into a monster like in the movie, but after several attempts at being scary...
That's so cute.
You can't smile.
Tina, I was just giving you so many props, but...
Tina gave us the perfect take.
Meow!
Yes, that is it.
I felt like
My wife suggested that I morph her into an actor from Cats, and I just loved the idea and completely ran with it. I grabbed some still shots of ears, whiskers, claws, fur, and a tail, blended them in, and animated them to give them kind of this morphing effect. After all the visual effects were done, I added music to the scene to enhance the changes in the mood. Finally, to tie it all together and really emphasize what we were making a parody of, I pulled in part of the opening shot from Ghostbusters, adding in some extra bird noises. And that was it. The intro was done. Alright, now it's time for you to fill out my performance evaluation. Leave a comment below and let us know what aspects of our video making you'd like to see more of. Want more cake recipes? More footage of us working in the kitchen? Or do you just want to see me washing dishes and cleaning up after everyone? Oh, don't forget, like and subscribe.